Hey everybody, this is Actlikeagrandmaster, or David, back with another video. Today we're going to continue analyzing the chess games from Coach Champs 2025. And today we're going to be following Group 4, which the players are rated between 1600 and 2000. And we're going to start with round 1. There was 4 games, and we're going to take a look at them. Alright, so the first game was played by Olzek with the white pieces, rated at 1917, and the opponent was Gothenburgis with the black pieces, rated 1770. Their accuracies were pretty good, 80.2 versus 74.1, so it looks like it was a good game. And looks like they got down into some time pressure. So looks like it was an exciting game. Let's see how it happened. Alright, so we get a queen's pawn opening. And we got a Chigorin. Let's see. So far just developing some pieces. And we get a knight jump to b5, attacking this c7 pawn with the bishop. Interesting. And black simply defends it. And then white continues to develop. So does black. Black castles. White develops the bishop. Black finally kicks away the knight. Knight retreats. Black's knight comes into play and attacks the bishop. And white decides to ignore it and castles. And then black plays c5. Trying to open the position. White captures, and then black takes the bishop. So far it's an even game. I do notice already that white has used considerably more time than black. Black has used about a minute of his time, and white has used about 4 minutes. So I think black is doing a great job. Grabs the pawn. Pushes forward. Nice, avoiding the queen trade. Wonder if there was a better move than that. Apparently the best move was b6. Maybe bring the bishop on this diagonal. Rook develops, bishop develops, the other rook develops. And we get attack on the queen. Queen moves to safety. So I think white has these nice 2 rooks, and black has these nice 2 bishops. So I think that's the trade-off. And we get the first blunder of the game. Looks like white can just play b4. And I guess once the bishop moves, you can take the rook. And if black takes back, rook takes, and I mean white's up material. I mean, actually the line says that black shouldn't take the queen, so white would just be getting the rook and black would be getting this bishop. Interesting. Let's see if white found it. White did not find it. And now black's winning. And again, black still has a nice time advantage. Looks like the best move would have been to go e5. All right, we got another blunder. Because bishop can go to e3. So bishop e3. Queen would have to take the rook. So you'd simply just be down a queen, down material. Let's see, it'd be you'd only be down you'd be up a pawn. Hang on, queen. Okay, 3, 4, 5. Black's up a pawn. Okay, all that for a pawn, but it's a over 3 pawn advantage. So, oh, oops. Let's see. All right, here we go. All right, so instead, bishop moves out of the way, which was not as good as going to e3. This gives the queen a chance to escape on the b3 square. And now, white's pawn's still attacking the bishop. So you're going to have to do something about that. Oh, but black blunders. And now, after rook takes, you're going to lose one of these bishops. Let's see if white sees it. Yeah, white takes the rook. Black decides to grab a pawn, and then you lose the dark square bishop. So white's finally in the lead. And the time advantage is a lot less. So white's making a comeback. Let's see if white can wrap this up. Goes for the queen trade, which I guess is alright, but I don't know. I don't like trading off pieces. Like, unless the endgame is easily winning. I think it's still, and I mean really easy winning. Like, I think it's still tough to win this. Like, you want more pieces on the board. Unless it's losing, but you want more pieces on the board, so it's more likely your opponent's gonna make a mistake. And again, you need pieces to attack these pawns, because white's up a knight. Well, let's see. White has a rook, black has a rook. So, yeah, okay. So white has a knight, and black has an extra pawn. White has 5 pawns, black has 6 pawns. Excuse me. So basically, white has a knight for a pawn. So how do you win this? You're going to have to either trade these pieces off, but a piece is going to have to win these pawns, because you're still going to need to you're going to need to queen this pawn. On the king side, it's 4 pawns versus 4 pawns, so it's a tie. Most likely, you're not going to be able to create a passed pawn. So the knight or the bishop is going to have to win some of these pawns in order to convert the win. Or the king is going to have to. This bishop is doing a great job defending these pawns, so it would be nice if white could trade it off. That would be nice. Let's see if it happens. Okay, black grabs a pawn. White grabs another. Rook attacks the knight. Knight gets out of the way. Luckily, it's defended by the bishop. Attack the bishop. Bishop escapes. And bringing the king in. So does black. Of course, this rook is doing a good job keeping the king out of the action. Rook goes on the open file. Bishop gets attacked. Bishop retreats. Bishop's going to get attacked again. Creates a square for the bishop. Gets attacked and the bishop retreats. So it's like, see, what do you do? Because, again, this bishop is doing such a great job protecting these pawns. You're going to have to either trade it off or the rook is going to have to, I don't know. I just don't see how. I don't see how, without getting rid of this bishop, I don't see how white can win. But let's see. Alright, so we get the rooks off. Again, the trick is going to be either the knight and the king are going to have to either win these pawns or win these pawns. Someday, if the bishop gets into the action, at least these pawns are in the same color. So there's a hope for that. Let's see. It goes there. King comes in. Looks like they're chasing down that pawn. And white misses a fork. Could have forked the king and the bishop. But only had 11 seconds, so tough. White's winning, but black's up a minute, so it's still a very close game. Alright, so black gets out of the fork and checks the king. White goes back, black comes in. White finally gets the bishop into the game, and I don't know why black traded the knight. I have no idea. That was dumb. Probably the mistake of the game. Now all that has to happen is the bishop just needs to come around here and collect these pawns. So I can definitely see white winning this game now. Let's see. Yep. Trade the pawns. And then, yeah, get in front of the path of the pawn. Nothing can force this king from moving, so it's a pretty easy job now. I'll just collect those pawns with the bishop. And eventually you're going to win this pawn, and then the king will help these pawns promote, and then you just mate with the queen versus king. And that was it. Black resigned. Could have played it out, but I mean, test white if... Yeah, white probably would have won, so... Let's see. That was a good game, though. Black was winning. Well, black was on winning on the clock the whole game, and so white did a great job under time pressure. So that was a pretty good game. Let's go on to game 2. Let's see. This game was played by Logando 2805. Had the white pieces with a rating of 1727 versus Asmoada with the black pieces with a rating of 2018. So definitely a big rating difference. But somehow white won. Wow. Man, good job, Logan. The accuracies were pretty good, all both in the 80s. Wow. I can't wait to see how black lost this. Let's see. Alright. So white plays e4, and then black plays the Caro-Kann. We get the advanced Caro-Kann. And bishops develops. That's normal procedure. h4 is a normal move. I think you're supposed to play h5. So clearly black doesn't know what the moves are. Or I don't think so. Well, let's see. Interesting. A lot of pawn moves. Huh. Okay, e6 by white. Trying to... I don't get why that was a good move. I guess it was just a normal move. I mean, I get you don't want to take because it's very weakening. Alright, queen comes up. Finally, white takes. Black takes back. And we keep pushing these pawns forward. So far, white hasn't developed a single piece. And this was a mistake because of knight f3. Knight f3 or bishop d3. Trying to figure out why e6 was a bad move. What should have black played? This is the only good move for black is to play knight f6. Alright, so he plays e6. Then we get knight f3, which is what the computer liked. And we got the knight developed. Yeah, it looks a little too soon to bring the knight in because it can just simply be traded off. But I mean, it came with a check, but it doesn't matter. Let's see. Looks like just developing the knight would have been better. Yeah, it's like you're getting rid of your so far best piece that's developed. And why would you want to do that? Yeah, I don't care for this. It would have been better to keep the pieces on the board. Well, trading the bishops is fine. But I think waiting to play the knight would have been better. To play the knight to e5 would have been better. But I mean, white's winning. White's got a space advantage, and you just got to continue development and probably castle queenside. Black's got to finish his development. He's a little cramped because the knight can't go here, and the only square for the bishop is here, so both pieces want to go there, but only one can. Unless, yeah, this just, it's not very good for black. Alright, so black saves the queen. Alright, white castles kingside. Yeah, I mean, normally I would say the king's very unsafe over here, but there's just no pieces that are out attacking the king. So it's probably just fine. And black just keeps moving his queen around. Like, why didn't you go there last move? Yeah, let's see what a better move would have been. Says the best move would have been, yeah, knight to e7. But anyway, it's queen checks, king moves. Finally developed the knight. And black wants a queen trade. Huh, would I trade queens here? I mean, white's winning, but I feel like you need as many pieces as you can in order to, like, I wouldn't trade pieces unless I was winning material somehow. And I just don't see it, so I'd rather come back with the queen and just keep playing the game. But let's see. Interesting. I don't know. This looks dangerous. Because, I mean, now the rook is pinned. And apparently this was a bad move. Oh, okay, because now the pawn's not defended. So queen can just take. Let's see if white sees it. And white does. And just to note, they both have about the same time. Both have 4 minutes, so no one's under time pressure yet. Yeah, now at least if you're going to trade queens, at least you're up a pawn now. So you'd really like to trade this bishop off for the knight or the bishop. But white's rooks look great. Just how to convert. That's why I might have kept the queens on the board even further, because it's tough to convert. At least with the queen, you might have been able to chase after some of these pawns. Okay, let's see. For some reason, the computer wanted you to take with the G pawn, which I don't understand. I don't get. I'd rather take with the rook myself. Just how do you convert this? This is why I would have kept the queens on the board. Because it's just, black's playing with all 3 of his pieces. White's only playing with 2. So how are you gonna, like, black's gonna have to make another error. And oh, okay. Finally, black loses a rook, loses the exchange, and white was able to get rid of his terrible bishop. So now, it's still going to take some work, but this pawn looks nice. Let's see if white can get it. Yeah, trade the rooks off, and then take the pawn. Now you got to get your king involved, or just trade pawns. But yeah, get the king involved. Trade, yep. And then now you can grab that pawn. Grab that pawn. Then yeah, just take the bishop. Yep. Oh, this is easy. I'm surprised black played on. Black just probably couldn't believe he was losing to a 1700. So that's why he probably refused to resign. Until he got the queen. That was a good game. The only thing I didn't really like is when white traded off the queens. I would have kept the queens on the board. I mean, maybe it's riskier, you might blunder, but I think your chances are better to increase the pressure on black, especially since your bishop was so bad for so long. All right, let's check out game 3. All right, game 3. Masky Chess was playing with white pieces with a rating of 1665, and the black player was Phoebe Whitty with a rating of 1755. And again, the lower rated player won. Wow, what an upset today. And the accuracy, wow, black's accuracy wasn't very good. And white's accuracy was pretty good. So let's take a look. First move, b3. Wow. Going for the surprise. And that's probably what happened. It was probably a big surprise, and that's probably how Masky Chess won. Let's see, knight f6, bishop, pawn, let's see. D5, f4, interesting. You don't usually want to move your f-pawn because it weakens the king along this diagonal. Let's see. Bishop, knight, bishop, pawn. So far so good. Castles. I don't care for this bishop being in front of this pawn. Probably would have kept it over here and then push this pawn up. Keep the knight from jumping in. Black takes the knight. Wait. I might have taken with the bishop. Let's see, knight back, queen active. But everyone's doing good so far. It's too bad the knight had to develop to a3, but if it would have developed to c3, then this pawn would have been hanging. So game plan, double up on the rook. Nope, I thought he was gonna. Well, white would have liked to double the rooks. But let's see, this was a missed. This was missed. I'm guessing some kind of. Let's take a look. I'm guessing some kind of sacrifice. There we go. Let's see if that's what it was. Yeah, the best move would have been bishop takes g6, f takes, and then queen takes. King h8, and then h4. Looks like you're losing the bishop. Alright. Anyway, white did not see that. So white comes back with the queen. Apparently this was a miss. Let's see what black should have played. Let's see, black should have played knight to c5. But why did it say it was a miss? Now, it says the move is bishop takes g6. Let's see, knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, f takes g6, rook takes f8, queen takes f8, and queen, it says queen to g3. I guess it's just a really good attack. But, I mean, you'd have to be a computer to see that, or a grandmaster. And these aren't, we're not grandmasters. So I don't really see that as a miss. That's too complex. It's too complicated, I think. So let's keep going. So he finally gets to double with the rooks. Another blunder. What do we miss now? Bishop g6 again. That is just really difficult. I don't know. Oh, but white finds it. Good job. Oh, well, yeah, now it's better because the rooks are doubled. So yeah, now it's good because if the pawn takes, then you, well, it's still complicated because the knight can capture. Let's see what happens. Knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, bishop takes, king moves. That's it. Black lost on time. Wow. So just one tactic. There was one big miss. Well, there was a tactic missed a couple of times, but then finally, it was that bishop takes g6. Man, you gotta watch out for that. Wow, that was a pretty good game, pretty short game. All right, let's take a look at the fourth game. All right, this game was played by JJ. JJ has the white pieces with a rating of 1674 versus VTom with the black pieces with a rating of 1893. This time the higher rated player did win, so normal, like the normal thing was that was supposed to happen happened. The ratings weren't, the accuracies weren't too bad. Black's accuracy was almost 90, so wow. Good game, looks like. Let's see what happened. Okay, we got e4, e5, just a king's pawn, and we got the Italian. Just developing the pieces. They know their theory, so far so good. Develop the rook, castle, knight comes out, and you want to retreat the bishop. c5, a3, b5, b4, takes, then the knight goes back. This knight shift is pretty normal. You either want to go to g3 or e3. Okay, we got g3. A lot of times the knight retreats in order to play f5. Let's see. Bishop, pawn, knight takes. First inaccuracy. Apparently this was a waste of time. Computer's not even sure. Keeps going up and down. Let's see what white should have played instead. What would have been a more useful move? Let's see. Computer likes bishop to d3. If that's the best move you got, just letting your bishop get it traded for the knight. Wow. That's pretty bad if that's your best move. Alright, so I'm fine with h3. Alright, bishop trades. Takes with the pawn because the knight's there. Yeah, I definitely see this knight's pretty strong, and it would be nice to trade it off. First blunder. Okay, rook. See, rook takes c2. And if you take, I guess just knight f3, and then you win the rook. Win the exchange, excuse me. But black doesn't see it. Doesn't see the sacrifice. White trades off his bishop. Black's dominating right now. Black gets the exchange. I don't know why white wants to trade queens for it. Not the right time. Let's see. Okay, so black's got two rooks and a bishop versus a rook, a knight, and a bishop. And black has 5 pawns, and white has 5 pawns. So it's just an exchange. But it looks like, well, the rook's forking. So I don't know if rook e3 might be enough to save the day. But then, yeah. I don't know. It's close. It's close. Instead, white counterattacks. And bishop retreats. White retreats, but now you're going to lose some pawns. Wow, black gains 2 pawns. That's a lot. Oh, I now notice white only has 22 seconds. So, yeah, time pressure. Time pressure. Good job, black, for increasing the time pressure. Now just trade the pieces off and promote one of your pawns. White gets a pawn, but drops the piece. And then that's checkmate because the bishop defends the rook. And that was that. I would have been just as happy promoting one of the pawns, but yeah, if you want to just checkmate with the 2 rooks, that's fine too. It was a good game. Black basically got the edge and then dominated on the clock, and then white just folded. So not bad though. Like, I didn't notice any time where there was some trades that shouldn't have been done. So I think black did a great job. Tom did a great job. That was probably the best game. And that was all 4 games of round 1. So next time we're going to be covering games from round 2. And I hope everyone has a great day. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day.